Okay, I just deepened the grooves, made them deeper so that the rawhide would fit in there better without protruding from the sides, hopefully. So, there it is taken apart. And I haven't decided. I still want to put another hole down here. Maybe I might try to tie it off up there. I may add another hole down here later if I feel that I need to. Also, on my next prototype, I don't think I'm going to do any narrowing right in here. Just going to put the grooves alone and leave the diameter the same. Also, I'd like to mention that on that end, I'm going to taper that end where it's thinner. The tip, the projectile end, needs to be heavier than that end. In other words, if the center of mass or moment of inertia is in the middle, then it wants to rotate very easily. But if the center of mass is closer to one end, then it's harder to rotate. So that will actually allow the trajectory to fall more in a projectile motion manner. Okay, this is prototype number 2. I changed the way that I attached this to the bibeveled bone rods from the prototype 1. The last one was pretty wobbly right there. That's a little bit more solid, but and I still wrapped around the back end of the projectile point a little bit. I just left these loose because I didn't really know what to do with them. I haven't tested it to see if, like, what it would do if you hit something like this. Doesn't feel real solid, but yeah, that just came right out. So that's kind of really what I figured it was going to do. This is a real problem. So I have an idea for prototype number 3. I'll unwrap this so you can see this is just temporary. These are casts. So I was thinking if you took a piece of rawhide like that and then just folded it up against, well, I guess I'll try it on this for the first time. Folded it up against this projectile point like that, then inserted that in there, somewhere right there. I don't think you'd want to stretch it too tight, because then as it shrinks and dries, it might want to pull it out that way. But I've really been having trouble keeping this squeezed tight enough, and really the only way I think you can do it is to wrap it. So, you know, it would go something like this, and this needs to be refined, of course, but oops. Probably wrap it anyway. It doesn't matter, it's just for the idea. The more I wrap this, the more impedance I have to penetrate So I have to keep that in mind. I don't know how to do this right here yet, but this has to transition pretty well. Anyway, something like that. And I think this would even work whenever it's wet. And that should make that really strong. I think it would make it strong enough even that this wouldn't go in. I'm going to test it just real quick. Yeah, I was hitting that pretty hard. I think that might work. I'll refine it and show it later. Okay, December 15th, this is prototype 1.2. It's the same spear as before. I just made some changes to it right here. I deepened the grooves, as mentioned in the earlier video, and then attached the rawhide. Now this is really firm, except this way it wobbles just a hair. You can maybe see it looking right there where it lifts off. And I think there's a gap in between those 2 points, but I might wrap the next one. But anyway, I'm going to be pretty much done with this one. I might re-wrap this. I just did it quickly and hastily just to see how it was going to work out. But as described in the prototype 1 video, or I'm sorry, in the right before this, I wrapped the bottom of this in a piece of leather in a wedge. I folded it over the outside, and then I took some rawhide and wrapped this, and it is solid. But I've been messing with it. I even sanded on it to try to smooth it so that it would transition from here to here easier, and that softened it, and this is kind of loose now. The gaps weren't in there at first. It's just whenever it shrunk it made gaps, and I can slide it. This is in its original place, and I can slide it up, and I don't like that too well. Now I notice that this piece fell out. This might not be a problem. I don't know. But anyway, let's see. That's prototype 1.2. Before I actually test with it, I'll probably take this off and rewrap that part and make this transition a little bit easier and maybe a little smoother. There's also a leather shim in there to try to line the tip up a little bit more. This thing was so solid before. And let's see, I also did some work down here to try to taper it. I'm not finished yet, but I'll probably show one more video of how it really works, or how it's really put together. Pretty solid. Maybe it's a little too wobbly, I don't know. Try it out.